How many times did Raul get touched? How many times did Raul get touched? They was able, like, of course, whenever you're able to run the ball consistently and whenever you're able to, then that opens up the pass, you know? But it's just like, you got to understand, like, what
the talent,
expect this, of course, but all this is of course, fuel to the fire. Under no circumstance, we all know this shouldn't happen. We understand we on the bigger and better things. Tomorrow's the day. We're going to be happy regardless.
Shedeur Sanders' situation is sort of crazy right now. Never did I think he'd be the 5th, 6th, 7th quarterback taken out of this draft. It's wild, but he is in backup territory.
The Shedeur Sanders show has officially packed up its tent. It's done. He finally got drafted into the NFL, and honestly, I didn't see this one coming. Not until I started digging deep into every story, every clip, every shred of reporting I ever did on this dude. That's when the pieces started clicking.
How many times did Raul get touched? How many times did Raul get touched? They was able, like, of course, whenever you're able to run the ball consistently and whenever you're able to, then that opens up the pass, you know? But it's just like, you got to understand, like, what.
Let me break it down. Just 1 year ago, people were hyping Shedeur up like he was a lock for that #1 pick. And at the time, that didn't even sound crazy. The draft class wasn't stacked with top-tier quarterbacks like the year before, and Shedeur had some real momentum behind him. Now sure, we already showed y'all some footage in the last video. Plays that had people thinking, yo, this kid might actually be NFL ready. Yeah, some critics say he ain't got that rocket arm. And no, he's not exactly blazing fast. But even with all that, some plays, straight up fire. Like that one I showed you. Colorado lined up in 11 personnel, stacking the left side with nearly all their weapons. TCU only blitzed 3. But they sent a sneaky wide side rusher trying to crash the pocket and break down Colorado's trash O-line. But Shedeur, he clocked it in real time and handled business. This right here, high-level football IQ from Shedeur.
You predict Shedeur and Travis going in the draft?
Top 4. Ooh, that's pretty beautiful. Anywhere from 1.
He rolls out left early, not because he's panicking, but because he already knows that blitz is on the way. No pressure yet, but he's reading the defense like a vet. And he knows he's got the advantage. Almost every route is stacked on the wide side. That's real pre-snap awareness. So boom, he slides left, sets his feet, and hits his receiver on an out route right at the goal line. From a wild angle, and he places it perfectly. Not many college QBs can do that clean under pressure. But that wasn't even his best play of the game. Later, Colorado's sitting at the 34-yard line, field goal range, easy.
Shedeur Sanders' situation is sort of crazy right now. Never did I think he'd be the 5th, 6th, 7th quarterback taken out of this draft. It's wild, but he is in backup territory.
But Shedeur had other plans. His connection with Travis Hunter? Unreal. Hunter catches the zone, throws in a hesitation, and boom, breaks wide open across the field. But here's the real magic. Shedeur's first read is the slot receiver's double move. He actually looks off the deep safety like he's been doing this for years. And then, with Colorado's garbage O-line letting TCU crash the pocket, Shedeur stays calm, knowing he's about to take a hit, and still launches a laser downfield to Hunter for a touchdown.
Expect this, of course, but all this is of course, fuel to the fire. Under no circumstance, we all know this shouldn't happen. We understand we on the bigger and better things. Tomorrow's the day. We're going to be happy regardless.
Was it a little overthrown? Maybe. But for a guy with a mid-tier arm getting smashed by a 300-pound lineman? That throw was nasty. Shedeur Sanders was hyped as one of the top quarterbacks in this draft. Some folks even called him the best. So now people are losing their minds trying to figure out how he didn't go on day 1 or even day 2. This whole situation got the football world flipping tables.
Here, GM of the Saints.
How you doing?
Good, how are you, man?
Good, been waiting on you.
Yeah, we have. It's been a long wait, man.
No, for sure.
We're going to take you with our next pick right here, man.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Let's be legendary.
But you're going to have to wait a little bit longer, man.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
Mel Kiper? Man's practically foaming at the mouth live on the draft broadcast. And it ain't just Mel losing it. Even Sean Payton's out here saying it straight up. This don't add up. And get this, Shedeur wasn't even the first Sanders picked. That's when the whole thing tipped into full circus mode. It got so wild that Donald Trump decided to jump in with a tweet right after day 1. Yes, that Donald Trump. total madness. He tweeted, "What is wrong with NFL owners? Are they stupid?"
How many times did Raul get touched? How many times did Raul get touched? They was able, like, of course, whenever you're able to run the ball consistently, and whenever you're able to, then that opens up the pass, you know. But it's just like you gotta understand, like, what.
Deion Sanders was a great college football player, and even greater in the NFL. He's also a very good coach, streetwise and smart. Therefore, Shedeur, his quarterback's son, has phenomenal genes and is all set for greatness. He should be picked immediately by a team that wants to win. Good luck, Shedeur, and say hello to your wonderful father.
The talent.
Sounded more like a sponsored ad than a tweet, if we're being real. But once you start digging deeper, it starts to make sense why teams might have been hesitant. Remember last year? Shedeur Sanders went on $1 million worth of game and flat out said that Shedeur and Travis Hunter would choose who gets to draft them. He literally said there are certain cities where it's not gonna happen. Sound familiar? Yeah, it was giving Major Eli Manning energy. And now you're starting to see why Shedeur Sanders might have gotten snubbed. The talent? No doubt. He had every right to go in the first round. But as Stephen A. Smith put it best, as day 2 rolled in, it was unthinkable that Shedeur still hadn't been picked.
Expect this, of course, but all this is, of course, fuel to the fire. Under no circumstance, we all know this shouldn't happen. We understand we on the bigger and better things. Tomorrow's the day. We're gonna be happy regardless.
And yet, day 2 turned out even uglier than day 1. First up, the New Orleans Saints, a team that desperately needed a quarterback and supposedly promised Shedeur they'd take him. But then came the shocker. They passed on him and picked Tyler Show instead. Now, if you don't know Tyler Show, he's almost 26 and basically went viral for throwing one of the worst passes anyone had ever seen at the Combine. No lie.
Shedeur Sanders' situation is sort of crazy right now. Never did I think he'd be the 5th, 6th, 7th quarterback taken out of this draft. It's wild, but he is in backup territory.
The throw looked like it came from a high school scrimmage. When reporters asked the Saints why they picked Show over Shedeur, all they said was, "He's talented, had a great interview, and his tape was solid." That's it. No real explanation, no accountability. But it didn't stop there. The quarterback-starved Pittsburgh Steelers showed up next. They don't even have a real starter. They're out here trying to roll into the season with Mason Rudolph. Seriously. And instead of scooping up Shedeur, they went and grabbed Caleb Johnson in the 3rd round. After that, the situation just spiraled. Team after team passed on him. Then came the Seattle Seahawks, who technically didn't need a QB, but definitely could have used one as a future backup if Sam Darnold flames out again. But nah, they let the chance slide too. And let's be honest, we've seen this script before. Last time the Vikings let a quarterback walk after a breakout season, that guy flopped with his new team, and the rookie they drafted ended up finishing the year under center. So what's really going on behind the scenes? Something's not adding up. The Cleveland Browns, a team begging for a quarterback, a team that was mocked to take Shedeur's highest number, 2 in some drafts, completely swerved, and took Dylan Gabriel in the 3rd round instead. And honestly, it's hard not to connect the dots here. Maybe, just maybe, Deion Sanders saying what he said last year had more of an impact than folks want to admit. Let's be real. There's one explanation that keeps coming up, and it's getting harder to ignore. Some say it's unfair, some call it a weak excuse. But when multiple teams pass on talent because of concerns about attitude, ego, and locker room fit, then it's not just noise anymore. It's a pattern. Deion did go on record saying Shedeur and Travis would pick their team, that they'd flat out refuse certain cities. That rubbed people the wrong way. But then came the real turning point. Yeah, Colorado's offensive line was trash. We get that. But constantly throwing your own teammates under the bus? That's a bad look no matter how bad the protection is. And if you're not undeniably elite, teams just won't take that risk, even if you do become a star. No GM wants to deal with a QB who brings drama along with talent. And that's the core of it. Everything around Shedeur has been built for him. He's had heavy input in the playbook, in the staff, even the scheme. But once you walk into an NFL facility, nobody cares who your dad is. Nobody's bending over to make sure you feel comfortable. You're gonna hit adversity. you're going to be told no. And the plays? They're not going to be custom made to fit your vibe anymore. Even last year, under Colorado OC Pat Shurmur, Shedeur made tons of audibles, just called stuff on his own at the line. And the wild part? There were zero consequences. But in a real NFL locker room, try that once, and you'll get checked so hard you'll think twice before freelancing again. And how did Deion respond to all this noise? Classic Deion. But the worst part of the day? It crossed the line into cruel. Somebody prank called Shedeur pretending to be an NFL team, claiming he'd been drafted. And the family actually believed it for a moment. And here's the chilling part. Shedeur said only coaches had that number. So now people are wondering, was this a deliberate hit from inside the league? Did someone really try to humiliate him on purpose? If true, that's beyond petty. That's calculated sabotage. Now that doesn't mean the dream's dead. He might still get a shot down the road. But right now, he's in backup mode. And ironically, that might help him. More teams might be willing to take a low-risk swing on him in the late rounds, especially if they still believe he's got first-round skills. Daniel Jeremiah and Joel Klatt also chimed in with their own takes on why Shedeur dropped like a rock. And honestly, it's wild. This might be the first time ever that a quarterback with first-round hype, even mocked as a potential number one, first overall pick, completely fell out of the first 2 days. It's a collapse. And if this situation proves anything, it's this. NFL teams care about way more than arm strength and stats. Character, interviews, how you move in a room full of grown men, that's what matters at the next level. Then out of nowhere, boom, the Cleveland Browns made a bizarre move in the 5th round. They traded up with the Philadelphia Eagles and selected Shedeur Sanders with the 144th pick overall. Not day 1, not day 2, day 3 pick. Backup label stamped. And a massive fall from grace. Now you might be asking, why is this pick so weird? Well, just look at Andrew Berry and Kevin Stefanski as the call goes through. These dudes weren't high-fiving, they weren't smiling, they weren't even pretending to be hyped. Their body language said it all. Irritation, not celebration. And that's why a lot of people are saying it straight up. This pick didn't come from the coaching staff. It came from ownership. Rumor has it the Haslams stepped in and forced the Browns front office to take Shedeur. And here's where it gets even messier. Cleveland already picked Tyler Shaw earlier with a top 100 pick. So what are we even doing here? The Browns draft this year? Man, it's a whole circus. They held the number, 2nd overall pick, prime position to lock in a generational talent. They could have easily paired Shedeur Sanders with Travis Hunter, created instant headlines, and maybe even sparked a rebuild. Instead, they traded down to number 5 and took Mason Graham. Now that pick, not bad. But everything after that, straight up confusing. 2 running backs, 1 mid-tier quarterback in the 3rd, then another QB, Shedeur, in the 5th, even though he was ranked higher than the first one they took. So to recap, terrible team. Number 2 pick, 2 QBs, 2 running backs, 1 frustrated-looking front office. If that's not dysfunction, what is? It's almost like the Browns couldn't decide if they were rebuilding, gambling, or just throwing darts with their eyes closed. And all this while sitting on one of the most critical draft positions in the league. But let's not forget, this ain't about the Cleveland Browns. This is Shedeur Sanders' story. And his reaction? Honestly, it was exactly what it should have been. Now here's where it gets hilarious. Dig up some old receipts, and you'll find that Coach Prime once said if any of his guys ever got drafted by Cleveland, he'd have them pull an Eli Manning and refuse to play. Yup, that's the 2nd time Coach Prime has made it clear that certain teams were a no-go, but life comes at you fast. Because from Shedeur's angle, this Brown situation might be the best possible outcome for a 5th-round pick. Let's be real. No team drafts a quarterback in the 5th round planning to make him their starter. But in Cleveland, the QB room is a mess, and the door might actually be cracked open. Watson's injury means he won't count toward the 53-man roster, but that still leaves 3 players fighting for 2 spots: Pickett, Gabriel, and Shedeur. And let's be honest, one of them is getting chopped. With Shedeur being the last one picked, he's automatically the most at risk. No guaranteed contract, no big draft investment, just pressure, expectations, and a razor-thin margin for error. This is his battle now, and the clock's ticking. At the same time, you could argue this might actually be the perfect setup for Shedeur Sanders. Why? Because he might just get a legit shot to start for the Cleveland Browns this season. And if I'm Shedeur, I'm locking in like my whole future depends on it, because it does. This QB room is unstable. It's not just a battle for preseason reps, it's a rotating door. We're talking about a situation where whoever starts week 1 might not even make it to week 5. Once someone throws 2 picks and fumbles a snap, the crowd's gonna turn quick. Nah. And you know what happens when fans see a flashy name like Shedeur sitting on the bench? They'll start chanting for him. Loud. Now picture this. Tyler Show finally gets the start, but then Kenny Pickett underperforms. Joe Flacco throws one of his classic 4-pick disasters, and the rookie QBs just aren't delivering. The fan base is gonna go wild, begging the Browns to unleash Shedeur. That kind of pressure turns into a full-on distraction. So yeah, if Shedeur locks in, grinds in silence, and seizes the moment when it comes, this could be the move that saves his whole NFL career. But if he fumbles this chance, it might be his last. And let's be honest, Mel Kiper's face when Shedeur finally got drafted might be the most entertaining part of this whole ride. Let me know in the comments what y'all think about this Shedeur Sanders saga. Was this a deserved fall from grace, or just the league sending a message? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video if you're rocking with the content. And I'll see y'all on the next one.